Hello and welcome back to the Taylor Seminars, where we talk about how Taylor Swift turns life into poetry. My name is Hannah, and I'm here with my co host, Exquisite. Hello.
Hi, Hannah.
Well, we are here this week to talk about a very consequential day, April twenty
Yeah.
ninth. But
Yes.
whenever you can listen to this any time of the year, it is being released almost a month after April 29th. But the track is High Infidelity by Taylor Swift. It was written and produced by Taylor Swift and one of her musical soulmates, Aaron Dessner. So I think we haven't had.
Yeah.
When was the last Aaron? Great War? Was it the last one we did?
I think that was the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was not present in Midnight's The Standard track, but then he made a big return with these two songs, and I think a couple more that are coming up. But
Yeah. Isn't he on Would Have, Could Have, Should Have? Or I made that up.
yeah, woulda, coulda,
No,
shoulda,
he
have,
is.
and then hits different.
And what's really funny to me is I remember everybody was looking at the producer credits and they like tweeted and he was like, "Don't worry, you guys."
I
And
know
so that was another.
he like he like did the fatherly thing, to like his children who are like what? Uh, but yeah,
Like, where are you? And he's like, "Don't worry about it." I think he's going to be featured on at least one Taylor song for every album she puts out from now on. She loves him.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Um, so here, I mean, Taylor Swift does talk about cheating and infidelity quite not unfrequently, and this one she just put
Yeah.
it right in the title, High Infidelity.
Which is so great because the literal title is a Taylorism, right?
Yes, so
Because isn't it High Fidelity
yeah, so
is
High
the
Fidelity is
it's a TV show,
so
but
it was like multiple things. So high fidelity audio, or hi-fi for short, is audio that's reproduced from the original recording with as high a degree of exactness as possible. So it's a very like techie audio thing that audiophiles would totally know. Then it became a film in 2000, a romantic comedy drama film that starred John Cusack, Jack Black, Lisa Bonet, no, maybe not Lisa, John
yeah.
Cusack, Jack Black, and other people. And so it was actually very popular. I don't know if it was I don't think it was a huge box office hit, but it got like a cult following.
Hmm.
And then it became a TV show most recently. In when was it? Like not too long ago, right?
Yeah, it was like 2020 and
2020. It
it
was
starred
canceled.
Lisa Bonet's daughter and
Yes,
also Taylor's soul sister, her sister,
yes.
Zoe Kravitz.
So that came out in 2020 with Zoe Kravitz, and who else? Other people. I'm just reading this list off of
Which
Wikipedia.
another layer of irony here is Zoe Kravitz is credited on the Midnight's album.
She is. She's in Lavender Haze.
Hmm.
So, and hangs out with Taylor Swift like all the time. So, we do have this kind of layer of okay, like high fidelity, um, the well high fidelity, the sound quality. Then these like
Yep.
things in pop culture. It's like I think it's about like a record store owner is what
Yeah.
the show's
What
about.
what High Fidelity is about is she's revisiting. Oh wait, actually, Hannah,
What?
you not knowing what this is about is so funny because it literally is low key the Midnight album. She's revisiting all her past lovers to get over her true love.
Mm,
So that's what High Fidelity is about. So she's like
interesting.
revisiting all these past boyfriends and she's trying to connect it through like music and pop culture to get over like losing her one true love.
Well, there we go. There's another layer. So, lots of things to parse out, even just from this title. And well, let's just get into the song because as the song goes, we'll be able to delve into the little things that connect. So let me start. Lock broken, slur spoken, wound open, game token. I didn't know you were keeping count. Rain soaking, blind hoping. You said I was freeloading. I didn't know you were keeping count.
I just love the way she does this because does almost the same thing in Fresh Out the Slammer where she does her little like her two-word, I don't want to call them couplets because they're not couplets.
But it's like
My brain is like
rhythmic.
supplying couplets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Lock broken, slur spoken. Like she's going up and down. Well, she's not going down per se. She's going like
Da,
up
da,
and
da.
then
No, it's
back
going
and
down.
up. Yeah,
Lock, broken, slur,
yeah.
spoken.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but yeah, it's definitely got
Yeah,
like a repetitive, rhythmic quality.
yeah. And I like the way it feels to sing. And I like the fact that she rhymes soaking with
Mm-hmm.
hoping
Yep.
and freeloading. Like that doesn't rhyme, but it works,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
because of how she sings it. And it is delightful. And the reason I think she's doing this rhythm is because the relationship itself she's talking about is going up and down.
Ooh. Yeah. I just love the not just the sound of it, but I love the way that the do 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 do, like very like game
Exactly.
and like very produced and very purposeful electronic sounds. We'll get to that. Um, but so yeah, so we have a lock broken, a slur spoken. So like there's something that should
Literally a fight.
yeah, there was something that should have stayed together. Like I imagine like those locks on those bridges, like love, like bridge of love or whatever, where you like stick a little
Hmm.
lock on it and then you like write your initials and you're like, it will never be, separated. They do. The cities often come down and just like slice through all of them. But that's what happens. Like this
Hmm.
thing that was supposed to symbolize our love forever was broken. Someone called someone something very bad, a slur.
Yeah, someone called somebody a bitch
Yeah, that's it. That's the slur.
or a whore.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
we relate to the bolter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something, yeah, some very derogatory thing, statement. Which, and then
Hmm.
there's an open wound is bad. You want wounds to close because that's the way they heal.
Hmm.
You don't get weird bacteria or whatever coming in. But no, this wound is gaping. It is
Yeah.
bleeding. It is raw. Maybe it's
It's almost like
festering.
it was ripped back open by that like
Ooh,
slur that was
yeah,
spoken,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. That's crazy imagery. Yeah. And then why do you think game token? What's that?
Okay, so what I think is it's like, hold on, you got to bear with me because I don't know if this is going to make sense, but it makes sense in my head. So game tokens, depending on the game, like it's either like a token in order to play the game or tokens you get from playing the game. So she's like he's accusing her of this being like a game to her again. He's like bringing up these game tokens. And I think that's why it like connects to that second line of I didn't know you were keeping count of
Yeah,
like, oh, you've been holding like you've been holding things against me
yeah.
and you're displaying your hand almost.
I
Like these
think
are
of
the
it as
tokens I
like
have.
because of the I didn't know you were keeping count. I think about it as like when you go to an arcade and your parents give you like, here's $2 worth of quarters. That's it. That's all you
Hmm.
get, right? And you're just like but then like instead of being like in a relationship where you could just freely spend the coins, right? You have to like
Hmm.
you're like you already spent $3. No, like oh, I didn't know that this was. I thought we were just playing and having fun. I feel like there was some kind of yeah.
Yep.
At best, miscommunication. At worst, you were nickel and diming me, right? In all the things that
Yep.
I'm doing in this relationship.
What is the which song is it where she literally is like but it's about baby who's counting.
So it
And then
goes.
she counts in that song.
Yeah. One,
She
two,
counts in
three.
that song, but they're supposed to be like, you did a number on me, but nobody's counting. Here it's like, oh, I didn't know you were like keeping count of like these fights of wins and losses. Like you weren't supposed to be keeping score, and yet here you are.
Yeah. I think, and that's like the hard thing, in, not the hard thing, that's like a red flag in any relationship, right? Because
Hmm.
when you're keeping score, then it becomes a transactional relationship or one person's trying to get power over the other. Um, and
Like,
so,
yeah,
yeah. So
and
I,
keeping tallies of you hurt me this many times. Now I get to hurt you this many times.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it also is just really funny because I always think about Bejeweled, which
Yep.
I guess yeah. So which is also about the similar relationship where it's like, didn't notice you were walking all over my peace of mind in the shoes I gave you as a present. Like you keeping score, I'm
Like,
keeping score.
like what? Like now I need to bring it back up. I wasn't going to, but wait a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah.
I bought you all this stuff. I do X, Y, and this is how it immediately gets unhealthy because it's not supposed to be like that.
Exactly, exactly, right? And then we have again this like rain soaking. Taylor loves to sing about being stuck in the rain or getting rained on. This
And
one,
typically it's
yeah,
romantic.
this one is so rain soaking, blind, hoping, and she was hoping to be romantic, but no, you said I was freeloading. In the shoes
Do
I bought
you
you as a present. Hello.
do you do you know what this sounds like to me?
What?
Because okay, literally the like rain soaking blind hoping. It literally is like she ran out in the storm this time instead
Mm,
of like typically she's like, oh, they chased me down. I'm thinking
mine.
mine.
Yep.
Do you remember do you remember I was sitting there by the water? No, that's not actually how I was gonna say that. But you know, she's like, I ran out. I remember that fight 2:30 a.m. Everything was slipping right out of our hands. I ran out crying. You followed me out into the street. And she had braced herself for the goodbye. And here she's like, I ran, to you. Like I'm at your door, it's raining, and I'm hoping something's gonna happen. And then he just cuts her down. He's like, you're a freeloader. And keeping count again, he's like, you freeloaded, you stole my friends, you did X, Y, and Z, you only wanted this from me.
Yep.
Um, which probably hurt worse than slur. Like and the reason I think it hurt worse than being called a slur is she just said slur spoken versus like saying what was said to her.
Yeah.
Like that's
And
what
the fact that
stuck.
she repeated it, right? We know
Yeah.
repetition is such a powerful tool in any writer's arsenal.
Yeah. And I'm also thinking, like you said, I was freeloading. Some of the things that are said that stick in the speaker's mind because I immediately like connect to you're losing me and the pathological people pleaser line of it all. And I still say it sounds like something someone called her
Yeah.
versus she called herself and it ingrained in her mind.
Yep.
And that's why I'm like that you said I was freeloading feels like that's probably what caused that wound that she mentioned earlier to open. Like wound it opened again. A wound opened.
Yeah. So before we get into the chorus, I think we alluded it to it. So in case someone's listening to this who doesn't really know the lore, so this song is likely about Taylor's relationship with Calvin Harris, also known as Adam something. His real name is
Whatever.
Adam something.
Uh,
He was a DJ, hence why there's this connection to the hi-fi, high fidelity sound. We'll also see other things as we go down that'll talk about this. And so this relationship is actually very funny because I don't know if we mentioned this during Bejeweled, but
We got a 1 year cake.
oh yes, there is a video where Calvin says we got a 1 year cake and Taylor is trying to smile but looks miserable, and Taylor actually didn't write about this relationship for a long, 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 long time. She might slightly alluded to it maybe, but she really didn't until Midnights, where she wrote Bejeweled and High Infidelity. And so we just thought it's just a very funny joke in the fandom that he
Yeah,
just
he
wasn't
made her
inspirational.
creatively constipated.
Yeah, he made her stuck, and so it is very funny that in Midnights though she was able to release her inhibitions, feel the rain on her skin. All right, go for it, Exquisite, the chorus.
High infidelity, put on your records and regret me. I bent the truth too far tonight. I was dancing around it. High infidelity, put on your headphones and burn my city. Your picket fence is sharp as knives. I was dancing around it. Do you really want to know where I was April 29th? Do I really have to chart the constellations in his eyes? And the very first thing is the way she sings High Infidelity, she goes high.
Uh
Like I
huh.
love when Taylor does that. She
Yep.
goes high and then infidelity. And I never considered it before, but as I was reading that, I randomly was like, oh my goodness, homophones. So high infidelity, like high in the air, like a highest level infidelity, but also hello infidelity. Like I'm saying hi
Girl,
cheating. Like she's like, this is now is a thought. Like now I'm gonna flirt with this idea. High infidelity. Like this is what I'm gonna do now. Flirt with somebody, like flirting with the idea of it.
I love that.
I
It's like
like
she's
as I was reading it, I
greeting
was like,
it.
oh, exactly.
And
She's greeting the thought of infidelity because this is giving her something more, like
and
making
I
her feel alive again
and I
after
love that
being torn
because
open.
then it sounds like she's addressing infidelity. Hi, infidelity. Won't you put
Hmm.
on your records? Or, like kind of that vibe. I mean, but I know she's also talking. Okay, so there's that. But the
Yeah.
second line, put on your records and regret me, is also addressing the
Hmm.
the boyfriend, right? Put on your records and
Yeah.
regret me, or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess okay.
You Yeah, it's almost like after she showed up at his doorstep and he said she was freeloading, didn't break up with her, but called her that. She turned around and was like, "Hi, infidelity," and then turned back at him and was like a curse. She's cursing him. Put on your records and regret me now
Yeah.
because I'm about to show you what I can do.
Yeah, and she bent the truth too far tonight. She was dancing around it. So the truth likely is it reminds me of that line in Bejeweled, where
Hmm.
what's the line?
They
And
asked
when I meet
when
the
I see the
band,
band, yeah,
they
they
ask.
asked, "Do you have a man?"
I can still say I don't remember, and she's bending the truth because she knows she has one, right? But she was just being like, I don't know, I don't even know where he
Maybe,
is.
maybe not. It's like a flirting thing too. She's
Mm-hmm.
playing coy
Yep.
with whoever she's dancing around with. She's like playing coy with the truth, playing coy with whatever this person is she found.
She's acting single, basically, right? She's dancing with the
Hmm.
other guys. She's sparkling up the whole room.
Yep. And it's funny the dancing to me coming after like put on your records is she's like I'm dancing to the music you're playing because you did this. You did this. You put the record on, so let me dance to it.
Yep.
With somebody else though, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And then high infidelity, put on your headphones and burn my city. Woo! Right? Like
Yeah.
you you can ignore me at your peril. I mean, it will and burn this relationship down.
You know what else you burn? And I'm about to sound this is where I can like tip my hat. I'm an older Gen Z a zillennial, if one will. You burn CDs too.
Mhm. Mhm.
So she's like, if you need to burn me into your music, burn all of this. Put your headphones on, listen to what you can make out of this.
Wait,
Doesn't matter.
the homophones in this are crazy. Burn my city, burn my CD.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's good.
That was you.
We're on another
I thought
level.
you thought. Well, you were like
I was
99%
I
there.
was there. I was there.
Yeah.
But you said it better.
um, and then your picket fence is sharp as knives. So picket fence, that's the dream house. You have the little white picket fence. There's the little
Hmm.
points. It like goes up into like a triangle, and but it's not a safe fence. It's sharp as
Yep.
knives, right? You
And it
about to stab
almost is
people.
yeah, go. What were you
No,
saying?
it's like it can stab you.
Yeah, and for me, I always read that lines as his expectation of her, and if we connect it literally just to Midnight Rain almost of the like he wanted a bride, I was making my own name. This idea that she was freeloading of the house like he quote unquote bought or whatever. She's like that house you bought, those picket fences, what you wanted me in, it's too sharp. And I'm not gonna leave it exactly, but I'm gonna dance around those points.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and the way I see it too is like the picket fence was hemming her in, right? I think later
Yep,
we're gonna see she's like at the house, right? She's stuck in the house. She
yep.
doesn't want to go out. So your picket fence, it's not protecting me from like the outsiders. It's pointed towards me, right? You're trying to slice
Hmm.
me up if I leave. And so how does she get out? She danced around it,
Yep,
I
she
can see
danced
like
out.
a movie montage where she's like, and then she said, and that's why I think her saying in Bejeweled, and by the way, I'm going out tonight. Like you can't stop me, right? I'm gonna dance
Hmm.
around it. So
And it's almost like a startling um contrast to Cruel Summer, where she's like, every I snuck in through the garden gates. Like this time she's like, oh, get me out of the fence, get
yeah,
me out.
yeah. Not sneaking in, but running away, bolting, one might say.
One might even say she was sneaking into the garden gates from that sharp picket fence, if
Yeah.
one was willing.
Um, and then so the lore between April 29th is fascinating. It's fascinating. It's the a lot of a lot of things happened around that time. So one is that Taylor Swift had a basically the night every girl in her 20s should have, where she was in the sights of several men. Right? She had a man who did. She's like, if you had a man, she doesn't remember, but this is apparently the weekend where she
You know, I got
danced.
a boyfriend, he's older than us.
Yes, where she danced with Tom Hiddleston of Loki fame, of lots of movies fame, of Getaway Car fame, one might say, and also the weekend where she met Joe Alwyn, who became her boyfriend. And so that was a crazy weekend, the Met Gala
Yeah.
weekend.
There's a moment she had three men swirling in her midst,
Literally.
as she should. Oh, Taylor was so glamorous. She was 26. She was doing whatever she wanted. 26, 27. Oh,
Apparently, this is also April 29th is also the day or around the day where Calvin Harris had put out the song "This Is What You Came For," and
hmm
he mentioned in an interview that like they asked like, would you ever collaborate with Taylor Swift? Because again, two very famous musicians. He's like, no, but Taylor actually was already secretly credited on that song. This is what you came for, and you can still hear her voices in the back with Rihanna, some oohs.
hmm
And that might have been the thing that pissed her off because, as we all
The
know,
most annoying Swiftie you've ever met. Did you know Taylor wrote "This Is What You
oh
Came
yeah,
For"?
100%, 100%.
And it's me. I'm the one doing it.
Yeah, when she played it at the Eras tour.
hmm
Did she play the Eras tour? She did, right?
She did. She
Yeah.
did.
So so yeah, I mean, as we know, Taylor loves her songwriting credits and demands them, and not just demands them,
As she
like
should.
okay, demands them, sure, why not? And so
Like they're hers. You credit her.
for her to say her boyfriend to play her down like that, I'm sure would have made her incensed. Maybe made her want to go dancing outside the picket fence, right?
Exactly.
So,
And then we know he's called her like mean things because he was like mean about it on Twitter when it came out.
mm,
And I remember because I that was a day Swifties were out like hounds. We history is lost. People do your readings. Calvin Harris has so many of us blocked.
yes, it is true. Yeah, so when you say April 29th, do you really want to know where I was? I was out partying, I was bejeweling, I was flirting with boys with buzz cuts, etc., etc.
hmm And what's really fun about this song, that specific line of "Do you really want to know where I was April 29th?" is the reason that but infidelity is so high is because she's just like, I'm gonna admit to you I was flirting with other people. And I because we're in this space where we are like so contentious that I'm like, she came back in the house after dancing outside those picket fences and like, do you really want to know where I was? Are you sure? Because I can tell you how he's got constellations in his eyes, how his starry eyes sparked my darkest night, if one will. And you can imagine she's trying to cut him just as deep as like he tore her apart when he opened that wound back up.
Yep, yep, yeah. So, and I think, do I really have to chart the constellation in his eyes? Is a really beautiful line.
It
Like,
really is.
oh, all right. It's my turn, right? Verse 2. Storm coming, good husband, bad omen, dragged my feet right down the aisle. At the house lonely, good money, I'd pay if you just know me. Seemed like the right thing at the time. Oh,
Ugh,
I should do the
this
refrain
is so
too.
good.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, there's many different ways that you can kill the one you love. The slowest way is never loving them enough. Do you really want to know where I was April 29th? Do I really have to tell you how he brought me back to life?
This is so good because the reason it's so good is because she lets us know, like, despite flirting and dancing with other people, like she goes back in the house, and even though like there's a storm on the horizon or whatever, the
Mm-hmm.
midnight rain, if you will, is on the horizon. She allows herself to get married. She's like, he's a good husband. He'd be a good husband.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, she kind of resigned herself to this picket fence life. Like, we're not saying they got secretly married or whatever, but we're just saying, like,
Yeah.
she was like, you know what? This is the only person who's gonna be with me. And if I'm not in his top 5, it's still fine, right?
Yeah.
But she should have known there's a bad
It was
omen.
yeah, there was a storm on the horizon on her
Mm-hmm.
wedding day when
Mm-hmm.
she marched down the aisle.
And she looks into that future, that time portal, whatever. She's at the
hmm
house lonely. Girl.
It's not a home again. with guys, when you listen to Taylor's music, specifically have your ears like perked to hear if she's gonna say home or house,
Yeah.
because that'll let you know.
Yeah.
Um, and it's almost there's this weird almost self-fulfilling prophecy that Taylor wrote here. Um, and not even, well, self-fulfilling prophecy, but also like you can tell that this is a song she was working out her demons in, or at least trying to,
Yeah.
because of what we know from So Long London, where she was like at the house lonely. Not even So Long London. We can go to Dear Reader. She was in the house lonely.
Yeah. If you knew where I was walking to a house, not a home, all alone because nobody's there. And then we
Good money. Like,
and then in So Long London, you left me alone at the house by the
mhm.
heath, right? Like
Yep.
there, I think the reason why I think Calvin Harris finally became a decent muse was because she was like, wait, I think I've
Where
seen this
have I
film
felt this
before and
before?
I didn't like the
And
ending.
I really didn't like that ending.
Hmm.
And I don't know, like that the line "good money I'd pay if you just know me" is like so interesting to me, because she's like, I would pay everything if you would know me for me. Like and I think that's what makes this song like low key tragic, is she does not want to like cheat. She doesn't want his picket fences to be sharp. She wants this to be a good and healthy marriage. And she's like, I don't want money. I just the one who wants my company, if I
Yeah.
should quote the prophecy. And she's like, I would pay anything. I would give anything if you would just know me.
And I think
Ugh.
it's
Anyway,
a parallel to verse 1 where he calls her a freeloader and she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I would pay
I would
good
give you
money.
all the money.
I would pay
I don't need your money.
yeah, right? Like I want you to know me, right? Like but you call me a slur, you call me a freeloader and now she feels trapped, right? Like she's like, "Oh, seemed
Yep.
like the right thing at the time. Like I thought this was the right thing. I thought I was on the right path, but it it
And
wasn't."
yeah. And once again, we have this bolter who is stuck in the house, right? And it's funny to bring up the bolter, because she does say, he slams the door, call her a whore.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the same, it's almost that same of oh my gosh, locks broken, slur spoken.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but this time, like they're different in that she didn't one, she left, the other, this one she hasn't left, and she's feeling confined and trapped in.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that part of, there's many different ways that you can kill the one you love. It's low key all over Midnight's.
And TTPD.
We and TTPD, this idea of I mean, she just straight says it, and you're losing me. She's like, how can you say you love someone you can't tell is dying? Like, you like, and it was slow. It was a slow and agonizing death,
Yep.
because they didn't love her enough
Yeah.
to give her any attention.
Yeah. I sent you signals, bit my nails down to the quick. My face was gray, but you wouldn't admit that we were sick. The air is thick with loss and indecision. Like that is yeah. And it's this idea of like making yourself smaller. Another song people connected a lot. This song to. I don't think it was initially written that way, but obviously she was working through something. Is tolerate it, right? This idea
Hmm.
of like I just want you to look at me, right? But I notice everything you do or don't do, but you literally don't look at me ever, right? The whole song is about I do this, I do this, I do this for you, for you, for you, and
Hmm.
you do nothing for me. Like literally, like, and
And isn't that the slowest death? Like, I love you enough that I'm still doing, doing, doing.
mm-hmm,
And you won't do something, say something, risk something.
mm-hmm. I know my love should be celebrated, but you tolerate it, right? She even takes your
Hmm.
indiscretions in good fun, right? There's this idea that she's still hoping, right? And it seemed like the right thing at the time. But
Um,
and then yeah, and then
yeah.
that bridge, a outro, break free and leave us in ruins. What would you do if I break free and leave us in ruins? Like what would happen if I
Believe me,
bejeweled?
I could do it. I could do it. And that's the whole thing. I think a lot of what the songs on Midnights that are threats, and High Infidelity is definitely a threat. She's like, hello, I'm gonna say hello to infidelity, and I'll talk to someone who can bring me back to life in a way that you like killed me or killing me. Um, the way that these threats work is her like asserting her, I could do it, I could leave,
Yeah.
and listing her reasons why she won't leave, or maybe is not trying to leave. And so this song to me is an I can do it, a believe me I could do it song. Ooh, new playlist idea. Um,
Believe me, I could do it. Yeah.
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 But yeah, like it is definitely one of those songs where she is asserting herself. Like she knows that she could have anyone she wanted if she wanted to have them
Yeah.
type way, you know? Um, yeah. And I like trampled into the do I really have to tell you how he brought me back to life, which literally comes right after her saying, You're killing me.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Stop, you're losing me. You're killing me right now.
And that's I think so much of we kind of see it play out in, like you said, You're Losing Me, in So Long London, right? Like I died at the altar waiting for the proof.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, and then we see, so I think that in TT not TT, in TS12, right, is there going to be like a, I mean, we kind of seen the alchemy. I just looked up the lyrics. What if I told you I'm back? The hospital was a drag. Like she's like coming back to life, right? Like I do think there's
Mm-hmm.
like that, and
She's getting color back.
in
I
her
think we're gonna
face.
get a lot of color back songs,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
which sound of I think we're gonna get some very musically colorful music.
I love that.
Instrumentation.
I
Musically colorful
love that.
instrumentation.
And I think, and this is not to say, and um, we're predicting, like, but it is a very powerful idea, right? That's like the Jesus story, a resurrection. Like that's like it's a great storytelling like metaphor, right? This idea of dying to oneself in one way and then coming
Hmm.
back to life in another way. Like we see it in so much media. And so I'm really excited to see how she plays with that idea for her next album.
Especially because like TTPD, like she painted it in shades of gray. And I know we're not talking about DTB, we're talking about Midnights. But it is interesting how Midnights was like this dark, deep blue, and then TTPD becomes this shades of grayish because that's the word she used.
That's right.
And gray, where she's like, this is not black and white. This is so complicated and so um heavy, and it's going to be very interesting to see based on the colors she wore to the Grammys, and we can typically take that as hints. And because she's done this to us before three
Yep.
times, Midnight's coloring, uh TTPD coloring. Um it is like it's going to be very interesting for her to see her come out in maybe a bright way of music of that, like, look, I did it and this was so good
Yeah.
for me
I
to get
think
away.
because Midnight's was her, yeah, I see it as like that dark, actually like her Grammys outfit, the dark blue with the sparkles on
Mm-hmm.
it. But
Mm-hmm.
I think like this one, she's fully ready to be bejeweled. Because even during the Midnight's era, she was polished up, but I don't know if she was all of these facets of sparkle shine that we saw on the era stage. I wonder how does she take that era's tour sparkle and like infuse it into
Yep.
her music next. I think
Yeah.
it'll be
I think it's
it'll
gonna
be
be.
dazzling, as she says. The
Mm-hmm.
future's bright, dazzling. So yeah,
Yeah. So yeah. And then the rest of the song is like,
she's basically remixing the refrain, like the chorus,
yeah.
outro. Oh,
But do you know what that outro, because of, I love when Taylor does this, there's this specific Taylor Swift lyrical move that, like, when you hear, and when I hear other artists do it, I'm like, that's such a Taylor Swift thing. Where she will either repeat the first line of the song or she'll repeat the whole first like
chorus, yeah,
verse of
or
the
verse,
song
yeah,
at
yeah,
the end. And her doing it here creates such a frame to me that like kind of sets the whole song as that makes it a threat, and it makes it this like almost happening in her head of her going back to that intro of lock broken slur spoken wound open game token, and her ending on that, I didn't know you were keeping count, but oh, you were keeping count of like, okay, since you were keeping count, she was like this whole song was this imagining of what she could do. Like that first half of okay, I'm going out on April 29th. Second half, she's like, oh, we could be married and it's gonna be awful, and I'm still gonna want to
Yep.
go and say hello to cheating. And so she's like, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, oh, but oh, you were keeping count. Like just that ending of there, her like there's a resolve there of, oh, I need to leave. I need to
Yeah.
get out.
Yeah.
This is why I need to find my getaway car.
Yeah. It's
Because you're
the
keeping count. Like that's the key. You're keeping count on us.
whoa, maybe I can't.
Exactly.
uh, so yeah, I love I know I love that observation, and you hear it in her voice, the way the life is like sucked out of her, right? I
Mm-hmm.
do want to give one shout out though to the there's no like real bridge, but her little ooh 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 ooh
I
ooh.
know. And it sound literally the song to me sounds like she's dancing and hopping around. She's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
doing all of this like all these moves of yeah, yeah. Also, I would like to throw my hat in the ring of why I think it's high infidelity and not like just any kind. She's on this other level of cheating. She's like, I'm not just gonna go out and sleep with someone. Have you seen Marriage Story? And we know Taylor was inspired by Marriage Story because she's mentioned it before.
I have not, but
In
I've
Marriage
seen I've seen
Story,
all the memes.
yeah. So in Marriage Story, there's this scene where he's talking, Adam Driver is talking to Scarlett Johansson's character, and he tells her, he goes, you shouldn't be mad that I slept with her. You should be mad that I had a laugh with her. That's the highest infidelity, right? So for her,
Mm,
she's like, you shouldn't be mad that I danced with somebody. You should be mad that I charted the constellations in his eyes and he brought me back to life. That's what you should be mad about. This is what should be like grinding your gears, so to speak. And it's almost like in the song, she paints as like she knows the worst thing she could do is to laugh with someone else because he could
mm,
not like he that's what was killing her. The worst thing she could do was be brought to life by someone else. It's not necessarily about like intimate like sexual cheating. It's like she's like, I will go find a way to have intimacy with someone else if you're going to be killing me like this. Um and I think that's such a fun. I think that's such an interesting way to like look at the ways you can kind of cross lines in relationships.
yeah,
And she paints why she had to cross a line. Even if there was no touching involved. She was like, we just talked
yeah,
and
danced.
we danced, and in that talking, his starry eyes lit up my darkest night. And you know what? You deserve this pain I'm trying to inflict back on you because you called me a slur. You tore open my wounds. And even when I was in the rain trying to work this out,
Called me a freeloader.
you were, you said I was freeloading and you were keeping count on all the past things that have happened with us
Yeah.
and maybe how you thought you saved me or something. Um,
Boo, tomato, tomato.
which I say thought you saved me because again what if you were not here, and this is like not to be like, oh, we're older switches, we know better, but if you were not here to directly experience what it was like before Taylor got with Calvin Harris and the post-red um the post-red era like sexism she was facing of Taylor can't keep a man, Taylor does this, part of that was why to her it was so important. She was with Calvin Harris for a year. And I remember when she posted it and she was like, my longest relationship ever. And
Yeah.
like thinking about that like upsets me that she was like, see guys, I can stay with someone since that is so important to you, even if it is against like what
All my instincts and all
all my
my.
instincts, like what my gut knows is I should leave. That bad omen I see, it felt like the right thing at the time because maybe the storm I'm seeing is the storm of people who are going to react if I leave. Like, maybe that's the storm. So it felt right to stay because, he's giving me shelter from this storm because now I can explore and do these things in my music and have that safety net of, oh, she's in a relationship, she can talk about whatever she wants, she can sing about whatever she wants. Um and I feel the same way, and everyone knows I feel the same way, but I feel the same way about how Folklore and Evermore received versus how TTB was received,
Okay.
because people saw, even though she wrote TTBD, well, she released TTBD while in a relationship, they were kind of like discounting that or whatever. But Folklore and Evermore, she had that freedom to explore conflicting ideas and like excavate some of her past in like in the haze of fiction,
Mm,
and not even the haze, but in the protection of fiction, because people were like, "Oh, see, she's in a 5 year relationship. She's not a whore, quote unquote, like a slur. Like she's not any of that. She's not a slut. So we're not gonna judge her based on we us thinking that she can keep a man, and obviously something must be wrong with her. She's allowed to explore that in that safety versus being single and writing music about like hooking up and exploring and dealing with the past. Because if you're single and you're talking about like trying to deal with your past, people are going to say you're hung up on it or you're not over it.
mm,
But if you're in a relationship, you kind of get like, yeah, this weird veil of safety. And I think part of the reason she didn't have that with TTBD is just because her relationship with Travis was so young that people were like, oh, she's it's a rebound, blah, 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 blah. She's still stuck on this person and this person and this person. And it's not quote unquote fiction, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so yeah, so that to me of like, I can imagine almost that's also what the freeloading was, the maybe not money, but like you're using me to coast. You're using me for safety. Like it's interesting, interesting, interesting. Yeah.
amazing. I love when you go on your soapbox
I
to to
I didn't
defend
need to.
defend Taylor Swift. Yeah, yeah. And I think that the freeloading, yeah, it must have been so loaded for her. So yeah, keeping count. Ugh. Anyway, so not speaking of, well, on that note, what should be the emoji? Is there like a freeloading emoji or
You know,
or a count?
is there a broken lock emoji? Not like a open lock. Open
I'm
lock.
sure there is. Let me see. Yeah, there's yeah an open lock. If you wanna do or any lock, any sort of lock you guys can throw at us, and we'll appreciate that. So we know we made it to the end of the episode. Um, so yeah, well that was really fun. It is really fun to go
Yeah, it
into
was.
the lore and honestly the amount of songs that this relates to is pretty wild. Uh, Let me see. What's the next track after this? Let me scroll down.
Um,
Glitch. Oh, your baby
I think there's
glitch.
been a glitch, and we literally have had a glitch episode, but
We
we
did. It
can.
was, if you didn't know, we had a glitch episode where I think we linked it to LOML. We
Yep.
had to do like a double episode for LOML because we suddenly were like, wait, we missed this whole thing. But we
Hmm.
don't mind doing it again, and it'll be in its own little context.
It will
So
get her time, her own
yeah,
time. I love glitch.
yeah,
People who don't understand glitch, what's wrong with you?
yeah.
Understand, respect her.
All right. So glitch, if you think about it, is very linked to high infidelity in that it is one of the
Yes, it
people she was
is.
dancing with, and then it became something more.
I think there's been a glitch. Okay,
So thank you
that
all
was
for
fun.
tuning in. We will see you guys next time for Glitch. Bye.
Bye.